Coach Prime's CU Buffs make big announcement for 100 years old Miss Peggy after fulfilling her two-decade-long wish. Not many fans can say they've lived through a century of Colorado Buffalo's highs and lows. But Miss Peggy isn't just any fan. She's 100 years young, a living embodiment of Buffs loyalty, and she's got one request: simple, bold, and backed by 2 decades of waiting. Just win, baby. Football or basketball, she doesn't care. Just make it count, at least in the Big 12. And thanks to Deion Sanders and his team's heartwarming gesture, Peggy's going to be there to see it, front and center. The University of Colorado just made Miss Peggy's wish come true in the most CU way possible. With help from coaches J.R. Payne and Tad Boyle, she was gifted the golden ticket, a full 2025-26 season pass to both the men's and women's basketball teams. Assuming Deion Sanders has the football season covered, and let's be honest, he better, Miss Peggy is officially locked in. Her wish? That Colorado finally makes it back to a bowl game, something she voiced before the start of last season. When the Buffs broke that two-decade drought, it wasn't just a win for Boulder, it was a victory for Miss Peggy's faith. Peggy's golden ticket moment hits even harder, knowing how tough the upcoming season could be. Athlon Sports prediction, ranking Colorado 50th nationally, is hardly the sunshine and roses forecast she likely hoped for. The post-Shadur Sanders era begins now, and that question looms large. Who's going to command the offense in Boulder? Enter Kaidon Salter, the presumed frontrunner. A transfer known for his dual-threat ability, Salter brings a different dynamic to the offense, but no shortage of pressure. Taking over for Coach Prime's own son? It's about legacy. The University of Colorado just made Miss Peggy's wish come true in the most CU way possible. With help from coaches J.R. Payne and Tad Boyle, she was gifted the golden ticket, a full 2025-26 season pass to both the men's and women's basketball teams. Assuming Deion Sanders has the football season covered, and let's be honest, he better, Miss Peggy is officially locked in. Her wish? That Colorado finally makes it back to a bowl game, something she voiced before the start of last season. When the Buffs broke that two-decade drought, it wasn't just a win for Boulder, it was a victory for Miss Peggy's faith. Peggy's golden ticket moment hits even harder, knowing how tough the upcoming season could be. Athlon Sports prediction, ranking Colorado 50th nationally, is hardly the sunshine and roses forecast she likely hoped for. The post-Shadur Sanders era begins now, and that question looms large. Who's going to command the offense in Boulder? Enter Kaidon Salter, the presumed frontrunner. A transfer known for his dual-threat ability, Salter brings a different dynamic to the offense, but no shortage of pressure. Taking over for Coach Prime's own son? It's about legacy. ESPN predicts a nail-biter season for Deion Sanders' crew. Miss Peggy got her golden ticket. ESPN had to go and rain on the parade with a glass-half-empty kind of forecast. According to the latest Football Power Index, FPI, projections, the CU Buffs are looking at a tightrope walk in 2025, predicted to finish with a 6.5 to 5.5 record. Fringe Bowl territory. After a 9-win campaign and an Alamo Bowl appearance last year, that's not exactly the rocket-fueled leap fans, and especially Coach Prime, we're hoping for. The FPI paints a picture of a Buff squad that'll be scrapping for every inch. ESPN's projection would place Colorado 10th in the Big 12 standings, which feels like a bit of a backhanded compliment. Yes, it suggests they'll be competitive, but it also screams middle of the pack. Meanwhile, the top of the table looks nothing like the Big 12 of old. ESPN's crystal ball has Kansas State and Arizona State finishing 1 and 2, respectively. Surely the Buffs have work to do if they want to give her a proper encore. Matt Rule learns surprising Nebraska projection after confirming stance on Dylan Raiola. Matt Rule's run at Nebraska was always going to be a long haul. After being hired in November 2022, the new head coach was looking at a program that last had a winning season in 2016. His first year didn't defy the narrative. Another losing season. However, in year 2, the program finally made it to a bowl game after 7 seasons of waiting. A 7-6 finish with a freshman under the center will be termed as progress, but Rule knows that the progress must continue for him to make his mark for the Huskers. What's in store for Nebraska in 2025? For starters, Dylan Raiola is returning. A year under his belt, he is already taking up a leadership role in the offense. However, a lot needs to go right for Nebraska to improve on its 7-6 record. The analysts of Crew 3 discussed Nebraska's future in a debate on Big Ten dark horses in the 2025 season. Chip Patterson opened the floor for the other two hosts to discuss Nebraska's position at the end of the season. The question is, are you talking dark horse to make the playoffs or a dark horse to win the conference? I think that those are in some of these conferences, the same conversation. Nebraska to make the college football playoff, plus 650 at FanDuel Sportsbook, plus 3,700 to win the Big Ten. Which side would you play for that one? Asked Patterson. Co-host Bud Elliott placed his bet on Nebraska qualifying for the playoffs rather than winning the Big Ten Conference. He had a fair analysis. I think it depends on how much of your analysis is that you like the schedule, right? If your analysis is you really like the schedule more, then I think you probably prefer the playoff. If your analysis is that you think they're really going to be good and you could actually survive like a game against, we're assuming Penn State, Ohio State, or Oregon, in some order, it's the Indiana path. That's what I was looking at. I think I would rather have Nebraska make the playoff, imagining that they go on some fever dream 10-0 start, said Elliott. What's the Indiana route here? Well, the Hoosiers had an easier schedule in 2024, and first-year head coach Curt Cignetti made the most of it. The program went 11-1 in the regular season and made it to the playoffs. If we dive into Nebraska's schedule this season, some say that they have the easiest schedule in the Big Ten, which can actually turn in their favor. Their tough games are at home, which will give them a strong home field advantage. USC and Michigan will come to their stadium. The only difficult away game is at Penn State, and even if you mark that as a loss, the program can still aim for a 10-2 finish. A lot will depend on how Dylan Raiola performs. Matt Rhule shows confidence in QB Dylan Raiola for 2025. Matt Rhule's confidence in Raiola has remained intact despite the latter's struggles in the second half of the season. A few months ago, some media misrepresented the head coach's comments on his QB's weight, but the former was quick to ratify the situation. In an episode of the Always College Football with Greg McElroy podcast, Rhule talked about his young QB. I mean, he's always been a tremendous worker. When you're a young player, you can be emotional. And when things are great, you're great. When things get bad, sometimes you kind of get quiet. You get introverted, you start to get frustrated. And actually, he and I sat together in the cafeteria today. We actually had this exact conversation. We had the UCLA game on TV, and he was like, "Man, it was 13-7 at the half." And then we came out, we threw a pick six, he threw a pick six, and we talked about how far he's come. What a statement. What a change. Definitely, things are different now. After struggling with his performance last year, Raiola has dialed in. He understands the narrative around his weight. Hence, he has been on a fitness spree this offseason. Now, he is listed at 230 pounds. Under a new OC, Dana Holgorsen, the sky is the limit for the Huskers' Mini Mahomes.